Yes, YouTube, what is going on? We are back with another brilliant brand new episode of UK Prison Stories, brought to you as ever by Bolts, Bars and a Bit of Bird, with your host for the most, Carl Aldred. What happens when drugs get thrown over the wall? What happens when drugs get snuck into a prison? What happens when they get secreted up bodily parts to get snuck in? What happens when visitors bring them in? What happens when what happens when it all comes on top and you get put on closed visits because of it? Closed visits is what happens when you get suspected of a drug offence in jail. Normal visits mean you go out, you see your family, you can hug them, you can kiss them, they can pass you drinks, they can pass you food, you can give them a drawing or something, you can pass them something that you've made out of matchsticks. When you're on closed visits, you're in a tiny little room with a screen between you, so they can't touch you, you can't touch them, nothing can be passed either way, and you can get put on it for suspicion, just suspicion, which is always a killer. When you're on it for suspicion and nothing else, it can drive you mad. Sometimes it's done by an accident, other times it's done because they haven't got enough evidence to nick you, so they'll just put you on closed visits, and that's the opposite of being hard done by, really, isn't it? But you can decide what this man is.
We'll go into this little office and we'll have a talk in here, alright? Because you put in an application. You're back on closed visits.
Yeah.
Now what's your problem about that?
Well, he's put me back on closed visits for suspicion that in the future I might bring drugs into this jail.
Right.
And, you know.
But you have had them in the past?
Yeah, but I've been back on open visits since then.
For how long? You're a totally independent body within the prison, with a public watchdog in the prison. And there's no partiality whatsoever. So if a member of staff wants to have a word, then we would stop and listen. Prisoners want a word with us so we could talk to them. Sometimes we can sort out their problems, otherwise we just refer them to the right channel. But you do know that it is a prime objective in the prison not to have drugs. I mean, you're aware of the situation.
Yeah, I know, but they can't turn around and say, right,
She's over very helpful. The IMB, Independent Monitoring Board. They say they work independent of the jail, but the amount of time that they rule in favour of the jail and the prison system and the staff is unreal. Very, very rarely do they actually help. Some people say, in my experience, are you aware that drugs are not allowed in the prison? Oh, isn't it? Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, sorry.
right, I'm putting you on closed visits because suspicion in the future you might bring drugs into this jail.
Well, they can do.
I'm not putting on closed visits for suspicion of bringing drugs in.
They can do.
There's been no dog indication, no nothing.
Well, there was.
Well, there wasn't.
Yes, there was.
There wasn't.
The passive dog.
The dog has never indicated any of my visitors ever.
Well, I would suggest that you go on negotiating with the governor about it. If you're going out on Tuesday, then there's very little problem.
Plenty of heroin in this jail. More heroin in this jail than any.
See how much helps he was? Keep negotiating with the people that have kept you on closed visits. I'm not saying I feel very sorry for him. You're going to see why in a minute. I know people that I was on it for 9 months. Didn't do a thing wrong. Not on it for 9 months. Other people get put on it because they get caught. Other people get put on it because they haven't got caught, but the screws know.
Any jail I've ever been in. It comes over the wall into the exercise yard. I get mine in books sent through the post. Yeah, what my friends do is they'll pick a book that's embossed slightly like this, so you can see the dent in there. They'll fill that up with heroin for me, then they'll glue round the first page, stick that page to it, put a weight on it so it's nice and flat, post the book into one of my friends. I'll go and retrieve the book, give them a little something for sorting it out, and then that's me all right for the rest of the week.
But I would suggest that you continue speaking to the governor or to the wing officer about it. And you can ask him if when you come back in you think you might be on closed visit again. Because I can't give you the answer to that.
Whose decision is it? Security? Because I've been accused of it in security and everything, haven't I?
Speak to the governor. Oh yeah, that's as much as I can tell you at the moment.
You know, he accused me of sparking him and everything, didn't he?
Yeah, well...
I even bring my...
I mean, he's probably out soon. Unless he's planning on never coming back, he's just giving away trade secrets. I bet geezers are watching this and thinking, you bastard. Listen, screws know about this. This isn't a new technique, but it's because it's sort of because of people like him that they get to know about it, innit? He's probably trying to do it to rub their faces in it a bit, but yeah, this is a bit strong, innit?
My own foil into the prison because the foil that you get from the canteen isn't of very good quality, so you waste half your heroin doing it. And that's, I just see if I've got some on the windowsill, but I'm not sure because I was having a boot not long ago. They should have a wing for people that take drugs to be on, so that the drugs ain't in the whole prison. It's a waste of time having a drug-free wing because people on the drug-free wing ain't drug-free. If they said to everyone, right, if you want to take drugs, you go on that wing there, you're isolated and you don't get no piss tests. It's the piss tests that turned everyone to heroin. I originally got on heroin in prison, you know, because at the end of the day, if you smoke a spliff, it's stored in your body fat, so it lasts there for 28 days. If you smoke heroin, you can flush it out in 8 hours, not 72 hours, 8 hours you can flush heroin out in, as long as you drink enough.
Yeah, he's not the first person I've heard say that. It used to be weed, but weed stays in your system 28 days. They brought in the drug tests. No one wants to get caught, so heroin lasts, like you said, they say it lasts 3 days, but there's so many ways to be an MDT or a VDT, mandatory or a voluntary. There's so many ways. I've seen people, you know, drinking vinegar, drinking loads of water, you know, strapping it to themselves, strapping other people's urine to themselves, and then the screws become aware of it and they start checking the temperature and, you know, saying you've drunk too much water because you know your urine's too clear, so it's a dilute, so we're classing that as a fail. Prisoners find ways to beat it. Screws become aware of it and try and stop it, but they're a big waste of time in my eyes.
Every single person that comes into jail, if he's put in a cell with someone that takes heroin, he will leave that jail becoming a heroin addict.
Yeah, 9260.
9260.
Something like this. From the side of that one.
When I say strapping up, this is the sort of place you do it. People know they're going to fail, so they go to someone that's not going to fail. Can you go to the toilet? Can you go away in this medicine bottle or the glove, the fingertip? You know, they'll cut a finger off a glove. We're into that for me. Whatever, they'll do it, and then they'll strap it somehow to their person, like to their leg or even straight to the business end of their body, and then they'll go in there. When it's time to go, they'll go in there, pierce the glove, undo the lid on the medicine bottle, whatever, and just tip that in, and then turn around and give it to them. But that's why they check for like temperature and all that now. But if you strap to your leg, it's sort of going to stay as warm as what you are anyway.
Put your ring on there. Okay. Well, I'll go through the test and I'll explain to you as it's development. Okay, you want me on anything?
No.
That's heroin, cannabis and cocaine. What we're looking for is 2 lines in each. Alright? When we've got 2 lines in each window, then it's a negative.
2 lines on each.
Well, you're praying there's 2 lines on each.
I can see them.
So, okay, yeah? Got a negative, a negative, and a negative. Negative, negative, and it's just coming a negative then. Alright, well then.
Screws know who takes drugs in prison. They don't need a piss test to tell them. They know just by looking at you, just by your reactions, whether you're laughing, you know, are you praying you're going to pass or what, that sort of thing. Yeah, they're a big waste of time, man. Those drug-free wings, people go on them and say it looks good on their record, but That's probably where a lot of the stuff's going to be. I've seen people go in their piss and then come out and pretend they tripped and chuck it everywhere. I've seen people nick all of the drug tests and flush them so no one on the wing can get done for a week or a month or whatever it is. Yeah, there's a million ways that people use to beat them. The vinegar one is pretty foolproof in my eyes, in my opinion. I've heard people say, allegedly, fill up a little 1 litre bottle vinegar and then just dilute it, fill it up with water. It looks like apple juice. Throughout the day, drink it. The next day, apparently you'll be flushed. I've never seen that foul. Maybe people are lying. Maybe I'm lying to myself. Maybe I've done it to myself and I didn't realise that I really fouled when I thought I passed. Yeah. Good on Matey for telling everyone the secrets about the books though, wasn't it? I presume he was doing that to try and rub their nose in it, but he just hotted everyone up, and the next time he comes in, he'll instantly be on